Hey guys, it's your boy Mark, back with another 2022 movie thoughts. It's been quite a while since I done one of these. And, just to put it out there, this is technically a 2021 movie. I'm just putting it out there because there was no way I could have seen this last month, man. With me having gout and with the, with me having gout and with the vaccine pass gatekeeping that my cinema is doing. Well, a lot of cinemas are doing that, sadly. I actually heard a friend of mine on Facebook actually tried to see the new Scream movie, the 2022 Scream movie, but she couldn't get in because of vaccine pass, gatekeeping. So yeah, there was no way I could have seen this, but this was released on streaming this month, January 2022, The Tragedy of Macbeth, based, of course, on the Shakespeare play Macbeth from the 1600s or the 1500s, whenever it was exactly. I'm a big William Shakespeare fan, y'all, and so of course I was excited to see this. I'm a big Denzel Washington fan too. I did hear, like, a friend of mine was like, "Man, this is blackwashing bullshit," and I can understand that. But regardless, I love Denzel Washington. I love William Shakespeare, and I was excited to see this. The thing is, when I watched this movie, The Tragedy of Macbeth, I was like trying not to pay too hard attention to the dialogue because even though I'm a big William Shakespeare fanatic, I still struggle to understand the English language from his time, man. It just hurts my head when I try to think about it too much. It's like, that sucks because I would love to watch any Shakespeare like adaptation or anything Shakespeare related and be able to understand everything they're saying, instead of having the gist of what they're saying. You know what I mean? So I try not to pay too hard attention to the dialogue. The only thing I have to compare this Macbeth to is the 1971 Macbeth film by Roman Polanski. I got that on DVD last year. I watched it. I really enjoyed it. It was extremely violent, and this is extremely different type of adaptation compared to that. And I feel like I should give that movie another shot eventually, because it was probably because, unlike now, where I really paid too close attention to the dialogue, and I probably hurt my brain, trying to do that. But yeah, Tragedy of Macbeth, 2020, well, 2021 technically, but I'm gonna put this as a 2022 film. I understand if anyone is offended or annoyed that I refer to it as a 2022 film, but because I remember a friend of mine, he was doing like Facebook movie reviews, and he referred to the third SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, as a 2021 film, when that is 100% a 2020 film. So I understand if you're a bit annoyed for me referring to The Tragedy of Macbeth as a 2022 film. Of course, starring Denzel Washington, Frances McDormand, what was his name from Harry Potter? Dudley or something like that, Dursley, whatever. The guy who played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton, he's in this too. Basically, real fine cast. And it was directed by Joel Coen of the Coen brothers. Just him, though. Kind of like how I think it was just Lana Wachowski who directed The Matrix Resurrections. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie, especially, not trying to pay too close attention to the dialogue, where it is classic Shakespeare, and they did things differently from the 1971 film. And like I said, that's the only thing I can compare my Macbeth movie watchings to. I haven't read the actual play, of course, because, I can't understand, Shakespeare dialogue. But I do want to watch the 2015 Macbeth eventually, though, with Michael Fassbender. That movie looks good, and I have heard some of the soundtrack of that movie, and it's beautiful. But yeah, I enjoyed this. They did a lot of things differently, but I enjoyed the performances. And it was in black and white too, this movie, which was really nice. It made it feel more like a classic movie. Like, it sometimes didn't really feel like a movie that released in 2021, And I don't know why I was laughing just now, but that was nice, being that this is a 400-plus-year-old play, and all that. It wasn't anywhere near as violent as the 1971 Macbeth. Although there was still some violent scenes in this. Like, I remember in the 1971 Macbeth, there was a whole-ass party when the king arrived. And in this one, by the way, spoiler alert for a 400-year-old play. But yeah, it was a lot more violent in the 1971 when he killed the king. And then the 1971 film, there was a whole ass party when the king arrived. I think I just mentioned that. And that's not in this. It's like the king arrives, we see him asleep, and Macbeth kills him. I feel like we didn't get too much Frances McDormand screen time in this. She was really good in this, though. I'll say that. She was dang good in this for what we saw. Yeah. The ending, as well, nowhere near as violent as the 1971 film. Of course, we all knew how this would end if you knew the Macbeth play. But in the 1971 film, in this film, we see him get his neck slit, off screen, and then he just, and then we cut away, and then we see his head cut off. In the 1971 film, though, he gets, a big-ass diagonal stab with a big-ass sword up through his freaking torso, and that, just thinking about it makes me, kind of, subconsciously, what's the word? Kind of feel it a little bit, you know what I mean? And then he gets his head chopped off, and it's real bloody, and everyone's cheering. Of course, this was still pretty violent, when he gets when we see his head chopped off afterwards in this one, but in the 1971 film, though, that was, oh my god. Oh, man. Still, the thing about Macbeth, though, it's like what and I wasn't intentionally trying to mention The Matrix for the second time in this. This is for the first Matrix movie, though. It was like what the Oracle said in The Matrix when she was like, "Watch out for that vase," and then Neo was turn around "What vase?" and then he smashes it, and then the Oracle says, "But would that have happened if I hadn't have said anything?" So the thing about Macbeth, very interesting question with Macbeth. If Macbeth hadn't have, talked to the witches, or if he hadn't have been told that he was going to be king, would anything that happened in the Macbeth story had happened? Very interesting questions. Other than that, this is the fourth 2022 film I've seen so far. The first was the Harry Potter documentary thing. The second was Deadly. What was it called? Fatal Accident or something like that. Fatal Memory, Deadly Memory, Fatal Memory, something like that. I really enjoyed that, and especially since I got a comment from the actress on that. That was awesome. Iris Warriors, which I didn't like at all, but yeah, this would by far be my best 2022 film so far. Kind of by default. I'm pretty sure that's not gonna stay my number one forever. But this was a damn good film. For what it was. I don't know what I'd rate it. Probably a 9. Why not? Even though, like I said, very artistically beautiful, great acting, and I really enjoyed this. And with all this in mind, especially with my current now mindset to not pay too hard attention to the dialogue, because I know what's going on. The witches, they tell Macbeth like that he's going to be king, and then he sets out to kill the king so he can become king. And then his wife goes insane, and he goes to the witches because he's scared about the future still. Then he gets killed at the end, and he sees visions, and yeah. Anyway, Tragedy of Macbeth. Definitely check this out. If you understand Shakespeare dialogue way more than I do, you'll probably enjoy this more, even more than I did. But yeah, I'm your boy Mark Sanders. That's my thoughts on the Tragedy of Macbeth on January 27th, 2022. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm your boy Mark Sanders once again. Peace out, y'all.